Yay Networks.
Hi, Wild Ones. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. I'm Whitney Rose.
And I'm Connie Daniels. So, Whitney, it's been a minute. How have you been?
It has been, I think this is the longest we've gone without hanging out in a long time.
I know. I feel the distance between us, and I don't like it.
It's not okay, people. It's not okay. If we're only seeing each other when we're recording a podcast, that is sad.
It is, because we do just live down the street from each other.
Yeah. No, I have been so busy. I think I've averaged I was home this last week, but really I've averaged 1 day home in between craziness. And I did the math. I'm going to be home 3 days in the next month, not consecutively.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been nuts.
It almost sounded like you said I was homeless last week, but you were home this last week.
Yeah, I was home this last week.
Gotcha.
But I felt homeless. I was so sick last week. So pardon me for the congestion and cough, but no, what's been going on? What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Not a whole lot. Maybe I'll just tell you what we did this weekend. That I know you were invited to go, but we do this every year. There's a thing called the Parade of Homes, and I'm not sure that they do this in every state, but in Utah for sure, they do it every year. And it's basically a bunch of different builders here will showcase one of their best homes that they have. So it's by county, I think. I think they do it because they'll do one in Park City, a different time during the summer. We just did a Utah County one, and they'll do a Salt Lake County one, all different times. So depending on where the homes are. But anyway, so a group of friends and us, we go, we decide that it's more fun if we take a party bus and we go from house to house. And there's usually, I don't know how many houses. There's 20 houses. There's no way we make it to all of them. But we do catch a few of the houses, and it's so much fun. But what I realized that is so nuts about deciding to do this is, when you're walking through the homes, it's pretty quiet. There's a lot of people walking through, but it's kind of there's not a lot of music. It's not
a super quiet, respectful thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's kind of what it is, especially in Utah County.
Yes. So
this year was kind of funny.
It's very reverent down there.
It is a little extra reverent in Utah County. It's kind of a party on the bus, right? And then we get off, and then it's quiet. But the party trickles into the house with us. And we got a lot of people looking at us what is going on, and why are these people so loud?
Leave it to you, Paying, and the others to just turn Parade of Homes into a party. Yeah. I've never heard of anyone doing that before. That's not a thing.
It's not.
Party bus of Parade of Homes.
But I think some people are catching on because this year there was a limo that pulled up, and a bunch of older ladies were getting out and going. I mean, that's a different version of their party. Going in and out of the house.
Well, just going together in a car, in a limo. That's fun.
Yeah,
what
super
was
fun.
The craziest thing that happened? I know someone was goofing off or doing something they shouldn't. Or was it pretty respectful?
Well, at one of the houses, it was kind of funny because we hopped off, and there was a lady walking out with this man, and she looked at us and she said, "Did you guys just get off of that party bus right there?" We're like, "Yeah, we did." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, how fun. You guys must be so fun." And we're like, "Yeah, we're kind of fun." And she said, "I'm the interior decorator on this home, so you'll have to tell me what you think. I'm just taking a break. I'll be right back. But gosh, this party bus looks like so much fun." And our friend Chad said, "Yeah, do you want a shot of tequila?" And she looked at us like we were totally crazy. She's like, "Oh, no." But yeah, it was... we do like to try to include as many people as possible in our fun. So it didn't work as well down there, but we had a great time.
Were the homes insane?
Beautiful homes. Beautiful, beautiful homes. Yeah. And they were all, we went to Highland. It's an area down just south of Salt Lake City. And it's up next to the mountains, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
so.
that's, my mom's in Alpine.
Oh,
Alpine Highland, that's where I grew up.
Nice. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Where all those homes are now were just fields and the foothills. So we would ride our 4-wheelers and ATVs through there. Now it's all homes.
All homes.
Giant homes.
I know people are finding out about Utah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the parade of homes, it was a blast. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. So tell me
Well,
what's
sounds
been
like
going
I
on.
missed a good time, dang it. I was
did.
still at home recovering, but otherwise I would have been there for sure.
Next year.
I mean, I've just had between like Wild Rose Beauty, Prism, kids, Justin, I mean, I haven't done much like social stuff. Everything I've done has been work related, but it has so many crazy things have happened. I think in the matter of like 1 week, in the matter of 1 week, my life has like completely changed just with Bobby's future, soccer, and we'll get into that later. But a wild thing, it was Utah Pride last week. So not this last weekend, but the weekend before, the first weekend in June, is Utah Pride. And I do a lot with Utah Pride Center. We had a gala, we did the parade, but one of like the coolest, wildest moments was the opening concert. They had a DJ set. So they had some big names, like the local DJ Rafa, right? DJ Rafa.
Yeah,
Did you meet
Rafa,
him?
I did.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Awesome. And then, there was another female, Annabelle. I can't
She
remember
was
her
so
name,
good.
but she was so good. But it was really cool because I got to open up the show, which was always a lot of pressure, and there's a ton of people. Like, it was a real concert.
Yeah.
Like, big stage, huge audience, and it was just an honor to, like, be invited to open up the concert and introduce, the DJs and the talent. And I was a co-host with Gia Bianca Stevens, who's a local Utah drag queen. She's probably the best in the state, honestly.
She is so fun. She's
So
hilarious.
much fun. Yeah. And she works really closely at the Pride Center. So that was her first Utah Pride that she did. So there was a
did
lot of
amazing.
changes this year, and they really are because of her. And anyways, get to my craziest moment is I got to introduce one of my good friends and favorite drag queens, Trixie Mattel.
Yes.
So she came and did her DJ set.
And I'm telling you, like, these people know their music. Like, I was talking to my husband, Ben, and he came down and joined us. And he was like, wait a minute, I didn't realize that all these drag queens also DJ. And I'm like, he asked, well, are they any good? And I'm like, listen, these gay people know their music. Like, it's always good music. So their sets have got to be good. And they blew us away. They did.
Yeah.
And Trixie's set was so good.
Yeah, Trixie's style was kind of like this time. I know she does a bunch of different themes and genres, and she's actually a music artist. She just had a single release that day.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, she plays folk music.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I
So
did
she's
not
super
know.
talented. But if you think about it, it's like, who do we always dance with when we're out? It's our gay friends, right? Our guy friends. Like, they know music, especially dancing songs. So,
Yeah.
like, it's just the perfect, like, Justin and I were talking about, the music, the vibe, especially with all this narrative around the LGBTQ community and drag queens being bad. I couldn't have felt a more positive, uplifting, happy vibe.
I
Like,
felt
did you
that
feel
too.
that? So much love and happiness.
Like, you take all of it away and you just close your eyes and feel. The feeling was it was pure, just love and connection. And it was beautiful. And anyone who went, I think, would agree.
Yeah,
It
was
felt like that.
And I think it was especially, like, it hit different this time and it was extra special because it's our hometown. Mm-hmm. So, Utah has notoriously been known for being conservative, but, like, to see how many people in and outside of the LGBTQ community were there, like the community and allies, and then just people who wanted to listen to music came to support, and that was cool to see.
For sure.
Because it's not like, a lot of states and cities are really struggling right now. And, people are fighting more for their rights than ever. So
Yeah.
it was cool.
It was really cool. Everyone did such an amazing job. It was really tasteful too. It was like any age could have been there. And I would have taken any age of my kids are adults now, but like it was
It was
awesome.
family friendly.
Yeah.
Like, like my kids definitely could have been there and been in the crowd and been totally safe. But Bobby marched in the parade with us. That was sweet.
Oh,
Yeah, we had a group. We had a good group. We ended up with, I think, just under 50 people marching with Wild Rose Beauty.
It's a good group.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm sick. I like overextended myself, was hugging a lot of people, but it was worth it.
I'm sad I missed the parade.
Yeah.
Next year, I swear I'm going to make it.
Yeah,
I say
you
that
are,
every
because
year.
I'm doing a float next year.
Okay.
So you have to come next year.
So I have to take it easy on the Saturday night before.
Well,
That's key.
it just strategize. Yes.
That's what I have a problem doing.
Go hard Friday, go light
Saturday, so you can
and
get
then go hard again Sunday, because there's great parties at restaurants and bars after the parade.
So fun.
Yeah, good music, good time. So yeah,
Fun.
lots of stuff moving and shaking, but Pride season is kicked off and it's keeping me busy. And
and you're taking off the whole rest of the month with all like a Pride tour.
yeah, I'm going on a Pride tour.
Yeah.
Hitting
your first Pride tour?
Yeah, my first Pride tour. I've gone from city to city, but never like back to back. I go Arizona. Well, I go Austin, Scottsdale, New York, Richmond, Baltimore, DC. And then I go back to Minneapolis like a few weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's an honor, and it's like kind of cool. Like, I've been asked to do so many, I had to start saying no.
I'm sure.
But I never thought that I'd have like a little gig and like hosting drag shows.
So
it's
fun.
like I found my little home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
and
much
you're
fun.
good at it. I love it.
Yeah, and it's nice to give back to people who need it too. And I mean, the gays love to party. I love to party, so
yeah,
it's a perfect mix.
It probably doesn't even feel like work.
No, it doesn't at all.
Love it.
In fact, I have to like monitor myself, like, hey, can't drink.
I love it. So Pride Month it's the month of June. I just want to talk about this really quick. Just speaking of Pride, I know a lot of people have said things like, "Oh, how come like the veterans of America only get one day and Pride is for a whole month long?" And I started thinking about that, and I was like, well, first of all, when Veterans Day came along, Pride wasn't a thing, right? So I think if they redid it, maybe they'd have more than one day. But I was thinking about what Pride is and what it means to me, and why I don't have even though I see that it's a valid like comparison, I guess. So, it is a valid comparison, but I tried to think like, well, why do even though I know that, and I'm so grateful for our veterans, I'm so grateful for our freedom, and ultimately we wouldn't even have Pride if we didn't have our freedom in America, because there's a lot of countries that if you're gay or trans or anything, they'll kill you, they'll execute you. So, but what Pride I think means to me is it's love, and it's acceptance, and it's validation, and really truly it's connection and including people. And I think that deserves to be celebrated all year long in my book.
Yeah.
Because it's how humanity should be. And we struggle for some reason with love and connection and accepting people that aren't like us. And so in my own personal life, I feel like a month long it's beautiful that we get to celebrate that and think about that for.
Yeah, I think a lot of movements that have happened, since the 60s, 70s, 80s, even like this is kind of the big movement of our generation, of our time, right? And if you look at my Instagram, every time I post something about Pride, or even if I post Memorial Day or Happy 4th of July, I get haters from both sides of the argument, right? And both sides of the field. And I agree, like, vets deserve respect and pride every day because they fought to keep our country free. They still fight to keep our country free. And, like, to me, that's different of honoring the American flag has such a bigger meaning and bigger impact that's like every second of every day of every, like, we are grateful for our freedom, right?
Absolutely.
And our privilege of living here. Pride, I get this a lot. Like, people get so upset when I post about pride stuff that are on the opposite side, the more conservative side, and they want to cancel me because they're like, oh, we thought you love America. And I'm like, I love America. I love my state of Utah. And I am an ally, and I love celebrating pride. And to me, like, you should honor our country, no matter if you believe in the leaders, the bills that are being passed. Like, if in my mind, I'm like, I bet you these people are sending me hate, don't even go and vote.
Most likely.
Like, you know what I mean? And like, that's how I have to like compartmentalize it in my brain of, I don't really care what other people think of me, because I'm doing my duty to my country. I'm doing my duty to my fellow citizens by loving and accepting them and looking after them. Because just being an ally doesn't mean that I have to be gay or someone in my family's gay. It's understanding that my neighbor's child is gay and being bullied, or my cousin's transgender, or like, just, you never know, or like your grandpa suffered his entire life of living a double life. Like, that's
Right.
just letting the kids across the street know, like, our house is safe if you ever need anything. That's why we fly our pride flag, our Utah state flag, and the American flag all side by side, because that's our statement that we make, because we agree with you, Connie. Like, it's just a different time and a different movement. And yeah, vets do deserve just as much recognition. Absolutely, because they fought for the land we live on. They continue to fight, like our active duty soldiers. Like, I don't understand why you have to choose between one or the other, because they all, in my mind, work together, and it's just one big circle. And like, when people realize that, that's where we're gonna find change.
Yep.
Is it's a circle. It's not like, you can't have a line through a circle.
Yeah. Right.
Like, because then you're gonna have a divide, and then we don't have the United States of America.
Right. And I don't know why everything always has to get that extreme where people feel like they need to pick a side.
Yeah.
And, in this case, it's like, it's not one versus the other. It all goes together. It's all appreciation, gratitude, love, acceptance as Americans. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
And worldwide.
And I would challenge, I hate going political, but we did. So
I know.
I'm just going to challenge people, because I've learned this through my own life lessons, is like, you can evolve and change, and that's okay. Like, what you believed a year ago, you could be completely different than what you believe now. And I almost think that's healthy. Like, you have to educate yourself on the politicians, the bills that are being passed, and open yourself up to other people's perspectives. Like, I challenge people to really talk to someone who has an opposite view of you, because you might be able to like see yourself in them, and they can see themselves in you. And like, it's
learn from
okay to
each other.
change. Like, if someone was consistently a liberal and decides to go more conservative, like, that's okay. Or the opposite, someone was raised conservative and opens up liberal socially, like, that's great. Like, don't hate each other for it.
Right.
Like, I challenge people to like change every year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's healthy.
Yeah.
And it's good, and it's okay.
And it's okay. Like,
yeah.
if someone's been, ignorant their entire life, they decide they want to do better, give them a space to do better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, should we break there and then get
Yeah.
into what's our topic today?
Okay, our topic.
That was a big tangent.
It was.
I'm glad you brought it up, though, because it's been weighing heavy on my heart. I hate opening Instagram and seeing people like trying to cancel me or be like, bye. Like,
Right.
Like, hey, bye.
Right. I guess you don't need those ones.
Shut the door on your way out.
You don't need those people. It's
Yeah.
okay. There's always going to be someone. As I'm sitting here in Whitney's office, staring out these beautiful windows, and looking at the flags that she just told us that she has out here, it just made me think about more deeply about what we were talking about. So, anyway, But today's topic, Whitney and I, we've been going through a lot. And we want to kind of dive into this topic today about grieving, because recently, I guess, has it been like 6 weeks now or something? We lost our near and dear close friend, Sherry, So we're kind of processing a lot of that, or it's a long ongoing process. But we kind of wanted to dive into it today and talk a little more about it because it unfortunately is something that everyone who's alive today and has ever lived will have to, all of us have to go through this, unfortunately, at some point in time, lose somebody who you love dearly. And so we want to get into that and things that help us and help us get through that because it's really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break really quick. And when we get back, we will get right into our topic.
One of my biggest obsessions right now is my meal kits. Like, they have been the biggest game changer for me. Seriously, they make dinner time so much easier, like less stressful. And I still feel like I'm cooking and like preparing and serving my family.
Absolutely. I don't think I can ever go back to trying to figure out dinner on my own.
Yeah, who has time for that?
Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well with dinners that work for you, not the other way around.
Green Chef is now owned by HelloFresh, and with a wider array of meal plans to choose from, there's something for everyone. I love switching between the brands, and now our listeners can enjoy both brands at a discount with us.
Choose from 50+ weekly menu and market items with the option to mix and match meals in the same box without changing your plan.
Feel your best for the summer season with balanced, crave-worthy meals that support your healthy lifestyle and that taste great too. I love Green Chef because it helps take the stress out of dinner time, and I'm not having to worry about doing a grocery order that's so expensive or running to the grocery store or resorting to fast food. It's so easy and the meals are yummy.
I love Green Chef because it gives me organic options. It makes my life so much easier. Everything I need shows up in one box at my door every week. It makes my life way easier.
And now organic. Go to greenchef.com/wildrose60 and use code wildrose60 to get 60% off plus free shipping.
That's greenchef.com/wildrose60 and use code wildrose60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. The #1 meal kit for eating well.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, Whitney, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy to talk about grief and mourning a loved one, but I think it's really important because, I feel like I have some really good and cool experiences I want to share with you that have really helped me get through it.
Yeah, awesome. So just a little bit of background on me, and I can't remember how much I've talked about this on our podcast, but I have had a lot of loss of really, really close people in my life starting 10 years ago. This is another reason why it's kind of heavy on my mind, not only the recent loss of our friend, but it's been 10 years since my little brother passed away. And I'm going to try to get through this without crying. Okay, so it's interesting because every year when that date rolls around, it's kind of like, okay, I just have to get through this day. And for some reason, when it hit 10 years, I think I just expected okay, in 10 years from now, because everyone says time heals, which it does. It changes things and it shifts. But it doesn't, that pain does not go away. And so I, for some reason, thought, okay, at 10 years, this is going to feel easier. And the day came, and it was almost harder that day. As some of the years have been a little bit easier to get through. But anyway.
What made it hard?
I think just realizing how much time had gone by, and just thinking these are 10 years, all the what ifs, what would he have been like if he'd been here all these 10 years? He had 2 little children when he passed away. He was 22 years old and passed away from suicide. And he had a little 3-year-old and a little 4-year-old, 2 different moms. When he was only 19, he had both of them by then. So he picked a really hard road. But anyway, I think it's just when you realize how much time has gone by, it just felt a little bit heavier that day.
So this year was more of the what ifs.
Yeah.
What would he have been like? What have he looked like? What would he have been doing?
Yeah, and I do think of that every year, but yeah, it's just like, wow, how has that much time gone by? That much of my life that he's missed his kids. He's missed those things, even though I personally believe and feel him around me a lot. And I know he's around his kids, so he didn't miss it, but it's just very different to
It's
not
not
have
in
him physical.
the physical form.
Yeah. Yeah. So after my little brother passed away 10 years ago, 6 weeks after, one of my really close friends, she passed away the same way. And then a few years later, I think 3 or 4 years later, another good friend of mine passed away from suicide. And then I think it's been 4 years, maybe it's been 5. My nephew passed away. He was 18 from suicide. So it's been interesting, like other than grandparents in my life that have passed away from, just old age and stuff, but all the younger people that it feels like they died too soon.
Well,
have all
and
been
like
suicidal.
for to have that many people in your life pass from suicide, that's a lot. That's heavy. That's a lot of people in your life.
Yeah, right. And
Back
so
to back to back.
yeah. And I started thinking like, okay, how come I've had so many close people pass away from suicide? And this is me and how I think of things. I sat with myself and I think a lot, what am I supposed to be learning from this? And what am I supposed to be sharing from this? Because I really don't believe things happen just because, or I know there's a reason for everything. So yeah, it's been very different kind of thinking about, going from losing so many people to suicide to losing somebody who fought so hard to live another day has been the biggest contrast. And, what I kind of thought from it all. In fact, when my nephew passed away, I ran into Sherry at the gym, and she had just recently found out about her diagnosis. And she said to me, "Gosh, Connie, I'm so sorry. I can't understand somebody taking their life because I'm just trying to fight for mine." And, and I totally get that. But as I thought about it later, I thought, well, it's just a different disease. For people who die from suicide, they have a disease in their mind that they can't get under control. And
Which is still part of the body. It's no different than, stage 4 colon cancer.
right.
Like if your mental health or mental disease, mental illness, if it's not under control, that's a disease that is running rampant in your body.
Right. And so I do like that people are talking more about mental health and everything now, that there's not as much of a stigma around it, because people are feeling safer to talk about things and not hold everything in, because when you do that and then you lose hope, then it's over. So it's really, really, it makes me really happy. But that's another topic for another day.
I see the duality. It's like you have people who are just like would do anything to leave this life. Mm-hmm. And who make the choice to go. And then you have people who are fighting to stay here, because like Sherry, the last time I saw her, it was the night before she took off to Texas. And for those of you that followed her journey on social media, know that she never made it back from Texas. She ended up passing away in Texas. And so I saw her the night before, and she was just like, I have another fight in me. My brain and my spirit are strong enough to fight. It's just my body is not responding. So,
Right.
Having someone literally fighting to their deathbed to save their life, and then people finding any way out of this life. Mm-hmm. The duality of it all is so hard to wrap your mind around, right?
Yeah, totally. And that,
because it brings up, what is this life? What is it for? What does it mean? Where did we come from? Where are we going? Who's the creator? What is
right.
Everything happened for a reason? Did we choose this before we came?
Right.
Like all the things start running through your brain.
Absolutely, they do, which kind of brings me to a point that I wanted to make. I did grow up Mormon. I grew up very religious and spiritual, but after my brother passed away, it kind of opened up something in me that I wanted to dig deeper on a personal level, to like you said, you're like, where did he go? Like I personally believe in an afterlife. and even more so now because of some experiences that I had afterwards. But it did make me dive in a little deeper. Like, what do I believe? And I don't know. I just really wanted that connection to stay with me forever after, even though my brother's physically not here. I was just like, how do I get this feeling of him with me to stay with me forever? Because I don't want that to die. So I am very open to things. And I think that's why I had some of the experiences that I've had. Mm-hmm. And I kind of debated if I want to share the first experience that I had after my brother passed away. I kind of debated because it's really, it's just like a really personal story. But then again, if I've shared it with a lot of people, the feather story.
Yeah.
And I think it, no matter what you believe, this is like, I don't know, should I just tell the story?
Yeah, I think you should tell the story because I think like the moral of the story is you have to stay, if you want to connect to higher power or loved ones who've passed on, if you want to connect to anything at all, let's just say of higher power, and that is not in the physical realm, meaning spiritual world, right? You have to stay grounded. You have to be extremely present because the signs and symbols are all around us, but you have to be like watching for them and staying open to receiving them. Otherwise, you'll just walk right past it. So when Connie tells this story, it's like had she not been like grounded and very present in the moment and able to feel what she felt, she could have just walked right past it and missed it.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's good. I just want to set that up as you tell the story because that has been one of my biggest lessons of losing Sherry.
Mm-hmm. And, and also that being said, I've noticed a lot of people, even people I've shared different experiences I've had with that have also lost loved ones, and they are looking for signs and they want to feel them close and they're trying so hard. They go to mediums, they're trying all these things and they're not having them. And I sit and think, I'm like, okay, I only have my own personal experience to go off of. And the only thing I can make sense of that is I believe we're all energy. And then after we don't have a physical body, we're still energy and our energy never dies. But energy is a vibration, right? And so if you think about all the different vibrations of different feelings that you go through, all the different feelings of grieving,
yeah.
Right? It all has a different vibration, and grieving is like such a very, very low vibration, but you have to go through it. And if you're grieving really, really hard and you're really sad or you're really mad or whatever stage you're going through, you might not feel them because your vibration is so low. And I personally believe, I don't know this for sure, but I think that after you're out of this body, your vibration is even higher because we don't have some of the things that weigh us down here on earth. So if their vibration is even higher and your vibration is super low, it's going to be really hard to have that connection, right? Until maybe some time goes by or you can work through some of that and raise your vibration to sort of be able to match up with theirs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you might miss a lot of things because that type of connection isn't possible yet.
Yeah.
That's my only way I can make sense of it.
Well, and for someone who is like grieving and like if they're angry or anxious or all the feels, there's different things that you can do to move out of that vibration. I mean, you have to go through it and have to feel it, but like, for example, if you're feeling anxious and like I can't deal with this, I'm so overwhelmed, like going for a walk and moving your body, especially outside, will help raise your vibration. By taking deep breaths, going outside, that'll raise your vibration. Like when you're angry, again, take deep breaths, go outside and write down 10 things that you're grateful for. Like that's how you combat and raise your vibe, right? So that you can hopefully start to be open to feel.
Right.
Yeah. But tell your story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to back up just a couple years before my brother passed away. I had a good friend of mine. It was actually my very first gay friend. I love him so much, Ryan Butterfield. He was my neighbor years ago, and we built a new house. And anyway, I met this couple, and they were so cute. And anyway, we went through a lot together. So I went through a divorce, and he broke up with his partner, and we kind of went through a hard time together. And he, without telling like his whole story, he basically at some point in time really tapped into a very spiritual part of himself. And he tapped into like tarot card readings and just trying to connect spiritually more with like himself and others. So one day when I was divorced, I was at a friend's house, and he had called me. He's like, "Hey, how are you doing? Just checking in." And he told me about these feathers. He's like, have you ever seen a single feather in your pathway? Like you're just walking along, you see a feather, and it's just right in front of you. And I'm like, well, gosh, probably. There's a lot of feathers, right?
Yeah.
And I said, well, why? And he goes, well, just let me know when this happens to you, and I'll let you know what that means. I'm like, okay, sounds great. Totally kind of forget about it until about a year and a half, 2 years later, my brother passes away. And, oh, no, this is before he passed away. I'm sorry. About a week or two after he told me this, I'm at a friend's house, and I'm laying on the carpet, and I roll over and I look down. There's like a down feather, like right under my eyeballs. So I pick it up and I'm like, oh, it's a feather. Like it's probably from a pillow, but it's a feather. So I call him and I say, hey, I found my feather. What does this mean? And he says, oh my gosh, well, what color is it? And I said, it's white. And he says, oh, white means peace. He said, well, if you find a single feather in your pathway, it means your guardian angels are around you and they want you to know that they're there. And I listened. It made me feel good. Whether, whatever you believe, whatever, it really doesn't matter. It's how things make you feel. So when he said that, it resonated with me, made me feel good. It made me feel peaceful. It made me feel calm. At a time I was really, really sad.
Yeah.
So fast forward about a year and a half, 2 years, my brother passes away. And I actually never really thought much else about these feathers after that. I just had a moment. So this is like a couple days after he passed away. And we'd been up looking for a plot and everything for him. And then I took my mom and his girlfriend at the time, and we went and got our nails done. Well, we were sitting in there, and I mean, anybody who's lost somebody close to them knows that the first little while is really numb. Like it doesn't even feel like you're really in your body. You're just kind of floating around, going through the motions, and
Like
that's
you
where
almost
it's at.
haven't like accepted it yet.
Yeah.
Like you don't believe it's happened.
Yeah, I think it's the shock of it all, for sure. So we were just sitting there and getting our nails done. My husband and I, at the time right before my brother passed away, we started to date each other again. And so he came in and brought us some drinks in, and he looked at my car. It was parked out front. And I had a brand new little white Lexus, and it had something on the door. And I thought, I was sitting there, I was so tired. I looked out and I thought, oh my gosh, it looks like somebody dinged my door. And I'm like, oh, but I'm too tired to get up and go see. But anyway, he walked in and he hands us our drinks. And I'm like, what is that on my door? And he said, oh, it's nothing. There's just something on your door. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, we finish our nails up and everything. And he says, let's grab some dinner and then we'll drive up to your mom's house, which is like 10 minutes up the street. I said, okay. So we're in a little strip mall. We go over to Cafe Rio. If you're in Utah, you know that.
Yep.
That place.
Staple.
We go and get some food. But right as I walked out to my car, I looked down on my door, and it wasn't somebody had dinged my door. It was actually a feather stuck to my door. And the minute I saw that, I got chills from head to toe. And I could feel my brother with me. I could feel him on my left side, almost as if I looked, I could see him. That's how much I could feel that it was him next to me. And I just start bawling because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, in that moment, I remembered what the feather meant, what my friend had shared with me.
Yeah.
So I get in my car, I drive over to Cafe Rio, and I get out, and I'm telling Ben, and Ben's looking at me like I'm crazy. He's like, what are you talking about? Okay. And he was really sweet and patient with me, and because I was an emotional mess for a while. So anyway, we finish up, we drive up the street to my mom's house, and when we get up there, all my family's sitting around, we're planning, the funeral, all the things, and I was sitting there, and I decided, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to tell my family what happened. And I tell them about what feathers mean. I tell them about my experience I just had and how I felt him. And everyone was just looking at me like, wow, I wish I could feel him like that, like you did. And then I thought, without thinking about the logic of my feather still being on my car, I sat and thought, I need to have this feather as my reminder of this moment because it was so special. And I run out to my car to grab the feather off of my car, and I look and it's still there. And I'm telling you, I drove 10 minutes, probably 40 miles an hour up the street with this feather stuck to the side of my car. So then as the logic hits me, how in the world is this feather still stuck there?
Yeah.
And so I get down real close and I go to peel it off, and I'm peeling it off real slow thinking, oh my gosh, was there something sticky on my car? Had to have been real sticky, but I go to peel it off and it's static electricity that is keeping this feather on my car. And then that's when it hit me. I thought, that's not even possible. So I called my friend who originally told me about these feathers, and I said, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe it. This whole thing happened, and it was stuck on by static electricity. And he says to me, Connie, well, what are we? What are we like after we die? We're energy, right? He goes, what is static electricity? It's energy. And he said, I don't doubt that your brother held that on there for you because he knew it would be important for you to have that as your, to remember. And so anyway, I still have this feather. I put it in a little vial. I hung it on my rearview mirror in my car. Mm-hmm. And just to remind me, and years later, I got in a really bad accident up the canyon, and that totaled my car. And this little glass vial with my little feathers still made it through, somehow didn't break. So anyway, I still have that. And so feathers to me are really important. And it's kind of like this, it's sort of this tender mercy that I feel like we got that makes me feel like somehow it's going to be okay because he's not gone forever. And that wherever he is, wherever that is, whatever that looks like, someday I'm going to be there too, because someday I'm not going to have my body anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and those little symbols, those tender mercies are just reminders that you physically cannot see him, but he's all around. Mm-hmm.
Whitney, don't you love thinking back on all the fun memories you had as a child?
Actually, someone asked me the other day, like, how were you as a kid? And I was like, so creative. Looking back, I was like always in my imagination. I love to pretend things. I love to do arts and crafts and creating a different world. Or even like, I remember getting all my cousins together and I'd choreograph dances and I'd teach them to everyone.
I loved being a teacher too. I remember playing schoolhouse and I was always the teacher so I could boss all my friends around.
Of course. KiwiCo delivers seriously fun learning for kids of all ages.
Whether it's about science or sensory play, games or geography, every crate designed by their team of experts inspires excitement, curiosity, and moments of discovery.
One of my favorite kits that I've done with the kids recently was we did a basketball catapult. And it was so fun because they got to learn like a little bit about physics and like how to put it all together. And we had a lot of fun because you like sling the ball into the basketball hoop.
Oh, fun.
So it's like a little hands-on game too. We had so much fun.
My kids are older, but they still love to watch things grow. And in one of our crates, we got these little tiny clear pots that we planted these little beans in, and we got to stick them with these little suction things to the window and watch our little plants grow.
Oh, I bet Jenica loved that.
Yeah.
KiwiCo projects are designed by a team of educators, makers, engineers, and rocket scientists who brainstorm hundreds of ideas to create the most exciting, age-appropriate, and educational projects.
It's hard to find creative ways to keep the kids in your life busy, challenged, and off their screens. Give them the tools to learn new skills, build new experiences, and make new connections to the broader world. Redefine learning with play. Explore hands-on projects that build creative confidence and problem-solving skills with KiwiCo.
Get 50% off your first month plus free shipping with any crate line at kiwico.com/wildrose.
That's 50% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line at kiwico.com/wildrose.
I think our podcast would be like a few hours long if I got to share all of the experiences that I had since then, because I've been so open and so curious since then and wanted to continue to feel him around. I would, there'd be there's a lot of things that have happened, which I'm super grateful for, because it is the only way I feel like I can get through it sometimes. But, and now with our friend Sherry, she's been very powerful too after her physical body has been gone. A lot of people have already had some really special experiences with her, and I know you've had one. Do you want to share?
I've had multiple, like some so profound that, like, even if I said it on here, people wouldn't believe me. But remember, I've had an experience with her before I even knew she had passed. It was during the time of her passing. It was somewhere between 7 and 8 a.m. the morning that she passed, and I didn't find out that she passed until later that night. She's visited me a few times within that week of her passing, and they were all beautiful. I'm going to keep those to me, but something that, it's been a month, and I posted on Instagram about one of them where so the symbols for Sherry so far have been pretty for everyone, have been represented by light, so like sunshine or a light coming through a room where you can't explain where it's coming from. That's happened to me in the middle of the night. She is definitely teasing me because she loves it's just Sherry. And when it happens, it's her. So light and sunshine is a symbol for her. Butterflies are another symbol, and hawks. We definitely, her family, friends, everyone, every time they share a story, these are 3 predominant symbols for Sherry, right? Mm-hmm. So I posted one on my Instagram where I was ziplining, and I had the butterfly following me and then the hawk. Did you read that post? Oh, so I was ziplining in Costa Rica just 2 weeks ago, and it was actually the day, 1 month since she had passed. It had been 1 month exactly, the 26th of May. And we went ziplining as a group of friends in Puerto Vallarta for Justin and I's 10-year anniversary, and this was a similar thing. It was 7 zip lines. I was on the highest. You'll have to go look at my post because I have the video of it. I was on the highest and furthest zip line, so literally over the forest of Costa Rica. And the entire way up, there was butterflies everywhere, but there was one that stayed right by me the whole time. Never left my side. It would come up, I swear, and look at me. And then kind of go off and just always dancing around me. There's butterflies everywhere, but this one was with me the entire time. And I didn't really say anything to anyone. I just kind of watched it. And on this zip line, that little butterfly was trying so hard to keep up with me as I was going down the zip line. And I actually felt Sherry, and I was just like, Sherry, we're flying together. And I look up, and there's a hawk circling right over my head. And I just started crying on this zip line because I knew, and I felt her, and it was I could feel her smile, just it's hard to explain unless you've experienced it. It's not just a thought or a feeling. It was so, I felt her smile. Almost. I knew that I was flying through the sky with my friend, and that's something that we have done together, something she loved to do, and then just those 2 strong symbols that kind of remind me to open up and connect with her. And it was so beautiful. I'll show you after this. I bought something from the gift shop with a butterfly on it, so I'd never forget. like wrote down the whole story and put it in it.
Oh, I love that.
But
I think it's important to
yeah.
write these things down because eventually you do forget. So if the listener out there has had things happen, write them down.
Yeah.
Because even though you think you're going to remember all the details, you do forget.
And I think it's good to go back and read them when you're having a hard time connecting, feeling grounded. But I really do just challenge people who are going through, especially grief and mourning of someone that you love. Like for me, I've lost, grandparents. I've lost people on the exterior. I've never lost someone that I love so much. Like losing Sherry has been probably the most impactful death I've experienced. It was so hard for me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm blown away by how hard it has been.
Yeah. I heard something recently that like when one person dies, everybody loses a different person because even though, Sherry is a similar like friend to both of us, everybody in her family, everyone and her friends, everyone had lost a different version of their Sherry. And
yeah. So I debated if I want to talk about this because it's Bobby's story and like, listeners know some of the people involved, so I'll be careful. But so soccer tryouts were a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. And for any soccer moms who have kids in competitive soccer, you know how stressful it is. It's like kids going to the Olympics every year at the same time. But Bobby ended up not making her team that she's been on for 4 years, and it kind of came out of nowhere to us. And the way it was handled was very poorly. It couldn't have been handled worse, let's just say that. And it was devastating because Bobby's whole world is her soccer team. She didn't really make friends at school in 7th grade. She doesn't have really any friends in the neighborhood. Her soccer team is her life and her world, and it was ripped out from underneath her. And so Bobby, though, we're so proud of her because even though it was hard, she did make it to some other tryouts. But now we've missed the first day of every tryouts because they do tryouts all in the same week so that you can't jump club. It makes it harder to jump clubs. Mm-hmm. So we're at the second day of this new club, Avalanche, here in Utah, tryout, and it is pouring rain. I mean, like, dumping rain. And I had just come from confessionals, so I'm done filming season 4 episodes, but we do confessionals all summer long. So we go to the studio and do the confessional interview part. So I'm like in full glam, and I needed to keep my glam because I had the Pride Gala that night, and I didn't have an umbrella, so I'm like using this towel to shield my hair and makeup, okay? Just already embarrassing enough at a new club. And I just remember like Bobby wasn't there yet, and I was just so fearful because I saw there was about 100 girls on that field, and I was just like, Bobby, and the chances of her making the P1 team again on a new club when tryouts have already happened the day before, I'm like, okay, I gotta like manage her expectations here. And I just looked up at the sky, I closed my eyes and just put my head up to the sky, and I just said, please, higher power, protect my daughter's heart. And I kid you not, I called Connie and told her about this. Like,
she did.
I was in tears. I was like freaking out because the sky literally opened up and the sun came shining through on my face so dramatically. And I had so much peace, and I knew Sherry was there. And I knew that it was a sign from her that like, just let go, let go of the anger, the pain, the frustration, trust in higher power in the universe. I'm here. I'm still here helping you and supporting you. And it was like so profoundly Sherry. Like I just felt so peaceful. And I took a picture of the sky because anyone who was in the area at the time will know that it was like monsoon rain, like dumping rain. And I just love our little mighty friend Sherry because she's so dramatic still, even on the other side without a physical body. That was the first symbol. The second symbol is I ran into Bobby's first training coach of soccer, and he was like, welcome to Avalanche. Our Bobby's coming to Avalanche. I'm like, well, hopefully. The circumstances are this, but we're hopeful. And he's like, oh, no, don't even think of it that way. We would love to have Bobby at our club. And keep in mind, this trainer happens to be best friends with our coach that just let her go. So I know he probably knows or we'll get the information later. And so then I walk up to the field. Another thing that's been weighing heavy on my heart is Bobby not having friends in the school system. That made 7th grade really hard. And just knowing where to send her to high school. Is she going to make friends at school? Is she not? Like, these are all the things we worry about as a mom, right? And I just have not known where to send her to high school. 1, for academics, 2, social, and 3, soccer. Like, where is she going to play soccer? And I walk up to the field thinking I'm going to the coach. And I'm like, hi, my name is. And he's like, Whitney Rose, I know who you are. And I'm like, haha, do that whole thing. And he goes, hey, when is Bobby's going into 8th grade? And I was like, yes. He's like, perfect. I want her at school, which is a high school where they focus on academics and their sport. And I mean, if you want to play college ball, this is like where you want to be, right? And so I kind of just like stared at him like, oh my God. And I just looked up at this guy and I was like, Sherry, like maybe all of this, like the rug being pulled out from under Bobby was a nudge from the universe that she is not on the right path. She needs to grow, or maybe I just needed to meet this high school coach in this moment. So after that, I just told Bobby, I said, just go out there, play your heart out. You're being protected by higher power. And Sherry is here. And she started crying and she's like, Sherry's always here. And she's like, it kind of changed the mood, right? We were really sad, depressed, somber. And now Bobby's out there smiling on the field. And I go to my car with just peace. And in fact, I called Connie and I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And Connie and I are kind of like just crying on the phone, like, okay, well, now I need to go watch Bobby play because she really needs to make a team. Long story short, it was a huge growth moment for Bobby and for our family because Bobby turned devastation into triumph. And sure, things are uncomfortable right now, but she ended up making a national team. So she was playing Division I soccer, and now she's on a ENCL RL team, a developmental team for the national team, and she's playing at the highest level of soccer that she can play at, and she'll be traveling. So my schedule just got crazier because she'll be traveling out of state for games, and she traveled for tournaments before, but they travel for their regular season now. So she's playing soccer at the highest level that she possibly can right now, and a coach that let her go, she's now 2 leagues above that team. And it just kind of like blows my mind of why? But like, I have to look at it as thank you, because that was the nudge necessary from the universe to answer so many important life path questions for my daughter and put her in a place. And in 1 week, she is already playing like a different soccer player. Like when I watch her, I'm like, that is my daughter. That is her. Like, it has been insane. Sure, we have to drive an hour to practices each way now, but it just has been really interesting to see it all unfold. And she just got invited to play in nationals at the end of this month. So she's going to face the team that she was cut from, fed into their national team. And she's going to go face them in nationals, the team above her.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll see her old coach there.
Crazy. Isn't it
Can
crazy
you believe that?
No, and I remember that day too. It wasn't that long ago, but it was such
It was 1 week ago.
Yeah, it was such a whiplash kind of day because you called me on your way there, just devastated, catching me up on everything, and then the next phone call I get from you, you're like, you're not gonna believe what happened. And you're like, I feel I'm like, it's going to be okay. And, it's kind of like that saying, like, and it's kind of cheesy, but it's true. Like, sometimes things need to fall apart so they can fall back together in like the way they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And it worked out even better than what you even imagined it would.
Right.
Which is so cool.
And had I not been actively like in my life on my journey right now, my healing journey, if you will, I'm changing it from healing journey to connection journey and growth journey. Like, had I not been actively meditating, praying, calling upon higher power, manifesting, giving gratitude back to the universe, I would have never had that thought to just like pray in that moment and then have all these beautiful signs unfold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
No,
if I wasn't in that state of like, I almost like not, what's like down on your knees, like to higher power or God, just like humble, I guess. I was just in a state of humility of like, I can't do this alone.
Right.
Like, I can't bear this alone for me and my daughter. Like, please show me the way. And boom, Sherry comes through.
These kind of experiences, it did make me think like, gosh, I see so many different signs and different things now in my life because of these experiences, but it made me wonder, how many of these did I miss? Because what was when I wasn't open to it, what did I miss? So no matter what your belief is, I challenge you to just be open to things. And if you have lost somebody, look for the little signs, because when those happen, it's so peaceful and beautiful, and you just feel like it's something you can get through.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's so many things we could talk about and go on and on about.
And there's a lot of like beautiful books and resources and stuff, but honestly, this sounds silly, I'm just going to admit it. Like, you can even Google like how to get through grief, like the stages of grief, and it'll give recommendations on anger, on, because there's all of these different stages of grieving, and I think there's like 5 to 7 depending on the credential. But just Google it and find, or like DM us, reach out to friends. Yeah.
Because there's no way you can numb it out if you want, but it'll wait for you, because there's a certain amount of grief that just has to be done. And so we're here for you. We love all of our listeners so very much. Thank you for listening to us. If you feel like this podcast would help somebody, please share it. Send us a little review if you would like. We would love to hear from any and all of you. But I think that about wraps it up today.
Yeah, just keep yourself grounded and open, and call upon higher power, whatever you believe in. Call upon it. But
for sure.
Yeah, thank you. We love you. And don't forget,
be you, stay wild. Bye, everyone.
Yay Networks.